So when have you seen really good stars in the night sky? Like, have there been times where you have like just experienced like mind-blowing, amazing dark sky with incredible like sea of stars stuff?
Growing up in Mississippi, you could see stars a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember this one time I was on our senior retreat because I went to a Catholic school. We were at a nature lodge, like in the middle of Mississippi, and it was late at night and no one was sleeping, and a bunch of us stole away to this field nearby. Like,
but you were all being chased.
Right. We had to go to these, we had to go through these woods, and we got there and the stars were really bright there. So that was the first thing that came to mind when you asked that.
Yeah.
What about you?
When I was up in Maine, the first time I saw like a really incredible stars was I was selected in my junior year to do this artist residency on an island.
About chastity and prayer.
About chastity and prayer. It's how we met, actually, on chastityprayer.boyfriend. I don't know,
right.
But like, let's start that website.
Right.
No. I was chosen for an artist residency in between my junior and senior year of college on an island right off the coast of Maine in the Penobscot Bay. It was really, really incredible to be on this island and experience this artist residency, but it was incredibly dark, and seeing the night sky I'd never seen the Milky Way like that. It was really an awe-inspiring thing. And then when I was in Peru hiking to Machu Picchu.
Oh, well, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that blew Maine away. Toss. Yeah, you know, things I've done in my youth on my chastity prayer visuals. Right. What about when we were in Colorado? How was that for you when we went to Black Canyon to see the stars?
Well, okay, so... You know, Black Canyon is one of the
international dark
sky sites, right?
Right.
You were very adamant. You were like, we have to go back when it's dark. We have to go see stars. And we were staying so close, so it makes sense, you know?
Yeah, I think it was like a half hour up to the canyon from Montrose, something like that.
Yeah, from Karen's house.
Right.
Yeah. So after our first day, we like ate dinner downtown, and then we just like...
Colorado pizza. Listen, Colorado pizza is where it's at. We were like, what will this be like?
You know what we were doing that evening was like, we were...
being chased.
We had to... I had to finish... we recorded, and I had to finish editing an episode. Yeah. Which, like, I had to, like, put the blinders on and just finish.
Right, because the next day was Monday.
Because the next day... It was Monday. It was Easter. And so we had an episode due out the next day, and I had to finish editing it. And you were like, so how long is this going to take? Like, 10 minutes? And I was like, hilarious, girl. Just sit and wait. And how long did you wait?
Forever.
Yeah, because it takes a while.
It does.
It takes a while to make these episodes happen.
Right.
And that was just like a part of it. Like, it was, you know, anyway, we did finally finish, and we were both tired, but you were like, let's not miss the stars. And I was like, you know what? I can rally. Let's go. And so we went. Right. But it was... the moon. We saw the moon. And the moon was beautiful.
Oh, it was insane driving up to the canyon.
It was like the sun. Yeah. It was that bright.
Which screwed us over for stars.
So no stars because the moon was there.
Right.
And she needed all of our attention.
Listen, you shoot for the moon, but sometimes you land among the stars and you're chased while you're doing it.
I'm going to paint that, and I'm going to put it on a decal for your wall.
I would love that with some angels, and do it in the Live, Laugh, Love script that I love so much.
I will also make sure there's an infinity sign included, and also a key,
and a butterfly,
and
a dream catcher.
And a dream catcher.
Looking for adventure, I want to follow on the trail, or get a little lost and let the wind fill my sails. Get up when the stars still fill the sky, don't wake the sun. There's so much to be done, and the day has just begun. Go where the postcards are real, you can feel, you can open your eyes and open your heart when you gaze at the national park.
Follow you there.
At the national park. At the national park. Follow you, I'll follow you there.
So last we left off, we were standing...
Suspensefully, might I add.
Right. We were standing in this visitor center of...
A literal cliffhanger.
Literal. Of Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park. Mm-hmm. And we thought that we had like heard all of the various things one could do on foot in Black Canyon of the Gunnison. But then our ears perked up when we heard the park ranger telling someone else.
The same park ranger who had told us basically everything that we could do.
And I was like, well, why didn't he mention this to us?
Yeah.
But that's the very Jersey way of thinking. But anyway,
I'm going to cut him. Right.
I'm not going to give you any of my marinara sauce. So
exactly.
We were standing there and we were both listening and we both looked at each other. You were looking at one part of the exhibit. I was looking at another, and both of us turned like, oh, what was that?
Yeah.
What was that?
Mm-hmm.
So we hear about these wilderness routes, which in short, a wilderness route is like a trail, except it's not as maintained.
Right. Sometimes they are trails themselves, and then, you know, the park just can't keep up with the maintenance of them, and they don't necessarily fall into disrepair. They're just not as, you know, they're not as taken care of as some of the other routes. It's not to say that they won't ever receive maintenance again, but they're kind of a little rugged.
They're a little rugged and they're off on their own.
Yeah.
You know?
So in Black Canyon, there's 3 ways to take wilderness routes down to the river, basically to the canyon level, not to rim level. The 3 routes are the Warner route, which starts at Warner Point. So we were there already. The Gunnison route, which is very close to Gunnison Point. It's actually off of the Oak Flat Trail. And then the Tomichi route, which is what we basically were hearing most of from the park ranger.
Because I believe the other 2, they didn't have enough reports to know how clear they were.
Well, and the ranger could kind of make his best guesses because the Tomichi route faces the east. It just gets a lot of sun, and it tends to, if there's snow, that snow is gone fairly quickly. The other routes are on the north and kind of western part of the canyon, so he was using his best judgment. I think he had some reports that like the start of the Warner route was just super icy and super snowy and to not even try it. So when he was talking to these other visitors, he was like talking about the Tomichi route the entire time, which we were like, oh, well, can you please tell us more about this?
Yeah, he did tell us about the other routes and then basically the Tomichi route. The Tomichi route is 1 mile in distance. It is a vertical drop of 1,960 feet, which is about 597 meters. The park says that the descent will take about 2 hours and that the ascent will take about 3 to 4.
You self-permit.
Which means that you come in, you sign the paper.
You come in,
you sign the paper at the visitor center, and you keep that paper with you.
They keep a copy.
And they keep a copy too. And then when you're done on the trail or the route,
you have to return the permit.
You have to return the permit. You have to return your copy so that they know you've made it back.
Right.
And they also have a little drop box too.
In case you're back after hours.
After hours,
yeah.
right.
Which is great.
Which is super great.
Also
However,
told us that you need to be prepared for a 24-hour stay in the canyon.
In the event you need a rescue, you have to be
you
have to keep yourself alive for 24 hours, and that's when someone will come find you.
Right. How did you feel in that moment when you heard that?
My Capricorn senses were like, oh, that's very smart and efficient, and I understand this protocol, right? And then my rising Libra was like, oh, girl, I better not drink all that water. You know what I mean? Like that's what I was thinking.
Right. Yeah.
What about you?
I think I don't know what happens to me when we hike these like things that are technically dangerous or a little dodgier than a typical trail, but the part of my brain that should be screaming at me to like be afraid is just not turned on.
Yeah,
I've noticed that.
I've noticed that.
It just goes to sleep. It's like, oh,
you're just like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. This
will be great. Let's do it.
That sounds like my dad.
And it's rare that when I'm in that moment that I'm like truly terrified of the thing that we're doing.
Yeah,
I think Mora Rock was the exception to that.
Yeah,
when we were there, because I was like, yeah, let's do this, and then we were on it, and I was like, oh, this is actually really scary.
I wanted to die
the entire time,
but you came to me and you were like, this is scarier than I thought. And I was like, it is.
And you looked me up and down.
I did.
Disdainfully, which is your usual look.
That's my usual. My go-to.
Yeah,
if we will. We decided we were like, you know what? Let's think about it,
Yeah.
right? Like, let's not like make a decision. Like, we have it as an option.
Right. And
to
either
do
way,
the
we were
following
going to
day.
planning on getting there basically at an early point so that we could, because we knew if we had done the East Portal Road, which is what our original plan was for day 2, we would want to get there early because it was going to take us like 6 hours anyway.
So we were on our way out and we stopped by like near where Tomichi Route started. And we decided, we were like, let's just like take a look, like to see what it looks like. We went out, I don't know, like maybe 100 feet onto the trail and just to sort of look around, and it descends pretty quickly. Yeah. But it looked just like windy, sort of through brambly like
trees and things like that.
Exactly. So I was like, if it's just this the whole way down,
right?
Like, all right,
yeah, let's just do it.
Let's just do it. So on our way from there back to the car, there was a guy that had just finished.
Right.
And so we were like, oh, hey, how was it? And he was like, oh, it's really not that bad. Like, now he is a professional climber, and we knew that because the ranger at the visitor center had said, oh, there's a professional climber that is doing it right now.
Yeah.
And so we asked him, we were like, listen, we were novice to medium experienced rock climbers indoors, and we hike all the time. He's like, you're probably going to be fine. So he said it took him like an hour and a half to get down, and then it took him about 45 minutes to get back up or something like that.
No, it couldn't have been 45 minutes.
No,
the ascent is definitely longer. The canyon.
No. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It didn't take him long to do the ascent, and that sounded crazy to me.
Yeah.
He was like,
because the ascent is,
because the trail, I mean, the map says
2 hours to descend,
2 hours down, and like
3 to 4 hours,
3 to 4 on the way
up.
back. And his time was shorter on the way back up, which I was like, oh, maybe they're just like really overestimating here on the map.
Yeah.
But his experience was much shorter.
Right.
And so I was like, well, if he is that experienced, I'm sure like whatever, maybe he ascends faster than he descends.
Right.
Which is what I think I turned.
You can
and
go
said
to a
that
doctor
to
to get that checked out.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that kind of left us feeling a little less nervous about it.
Yeah.
Or at least one of us anyway. Because I was like, yeah, let's do it anyway. I was like,
and
we're here.
And also we said, you know what? If we do it and we hate it, like we can just turn around. You know what I'm saying?
We did that a lot. It was like, listen, we're not gonna. I think we've learned to like pull the trigger if we need to.
We both have the power.
We've got the submarine keys.
Right. And so either one of us can use it at any point.
Yeah, it's true.
And we respect.
Yeah, it's true. There's no FOMO there.
There's no FOMO. And when the other person is like, no, this is a no from me.
Yeah.
Then we go, okay, that's fine.
Great. So we left the canyon and we were kind of like, okay, I think this is the thing we're going to do. And we struggled to find dinner because it was Easter. We ended up having Colorado pizza, which was delightful. Delicious. We wanted to hit a brewery, but I think the brewery we tried to go to was closed. So we just didn't do that. We went to the food store and grabbed a bunch of stuff. This is where you're like, okay, I have everything. I need you to go get plastic bags for us to pack peanut butter sandwiches. And you were like, where is Mike?
Wasn't it?
Where's Mike? Mike hasn't come back yet. Where the hell is he?
So this was in the grocery store, and I was like, he's sitting there trying to determine, should I get plastic wrap, plastic bags, or aluminum foil? And I go to the aisle, and there you are, and you were like, I was
paralyzed.
Like, you can't decide what to buy, right? He's like, no, I can't. And it was like, I just literally grabbed the closest thing to me and we walked on.
It's true. And then we went back to the Airbnb and just like chatted with Karen for like a good hour, I think. And she was so excited to hear all of our adventures. Well, we actually hadn't been to the Airbnb at that point.
No, that was our first time.
So she like gave us the lowdown on everything, and she was, the most warm and the most lovely.
Right. You can hear all about Karen in our previous Black Canyon episode.
And she was like, listen, this is how breakfast works. And she just set us up. She set us up for success in so many ways.
She was also told us, she was like, oh, there's a really great hot springs nearby that's really lovely that you should check out later.
Yeah.
Like, you know, on a day after you've been hiking or something.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, okay, great.
Yeah. So we dog-eared that. And then, like we said, we edited, or you edited, not me, in any way, shape, or form. We went to see the moon because the stars weren't out. And then we crashed really early.
We did. The next morning we got up.
We raided basically the kitchen.
Oh, we did. We ate a lot.
Right.
Karen got up, made sure we had eggs because she was like, you need your protein.
Mm-hmm.
And then we headed back to Black Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
We got there right at the opening of the visitor center.
Right.
So that we could get these wilderness permits. We go in. We thought we were going to be the first ones there, but there was another group there. There was a group of women there.
Yeah.
Who were all sharing a sleeper van.
Right.
There were
4 of them.
4 of them. And we went, we all ended up going into the visitor center together. We asked for the Tomichi Route wilderness permits, and they asked for the same thing.
Right.
And then in that moment, we were like, oh, I'm really glad, like, we're all going to be doing this.
Yeah.
So that gave me more peace of mind that it wouldn't just be the 2 of us.
Also, the ranger that was on the desk this day gave us a lot more information. He was like, listen, you're going to basically be going down on scree the entire route. And we're like, what's scree?
What's scree? Sounds like, you know, a type of like alternative music from the 90s, but
it's actually loose, like very loose, like gravelly type rock that's just broken down over time.
And you like, he said we would like be like stepping a foot into scree rock every time.
And basically like kind of like surfing down it essentially. He also told us, listen, it's an unmaintained route. You really need to pay attention. He's like, especially when you're coming back, because when you're coming back, there's no markers for you. So you really need to like just be aware of that. So just like tuck that in the back of your brain and make sure that's something you're paying attention to.
Because he says sometimes people get lost on the way back.
Right. He gave us that, like those helpful hints. And then he was like, here's your permit. Please make sure that it just comes back to either the desk if it were still open, or drop it. There's a box right outside.
I remember on this day, my ankles had been a little bit like, a little in pain. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I put icy hot patches, or salon pause patches on my ankles, and like I had like 2 pairs of socks because it was cold.
Yeah.
And then my boots on.
I think you gave me a salon pause for like my knee or like my quad because it was a little tender too.
Thank you, Gloria.
Yeah.
She was the one who was like, this is the one you buy.
Yeah.
Right. And so then
we drove over basically.
We drove over to like right near where the point is. We put our gear on and then we set off. And with that, let's take our first break. What game are we playing today, Mike?
We're going to play Guess the Idiom.
Oh, great.
Great. It's a good one. Since we're in Black Canyon, all of our idioms are going to start with the word black. You have to guess the second word based on the clues. Great. A Marvel movie that has Angela Bassett in it.
Black Panther.
This would be what you would get if you were really good at karate.
What you would get? A black belt.
That's right. Something that would make your white shirt glow neon purple.
A black light.
This is a type of snake.
A black snake. It's, hold on, a black, a black mamba.
That's correct. This is a movie with Mila Kunis.
Black Christmas?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
And Natalie Portman.
Black Swan.
There you go. This is a type of carnivore that is less likely to attack you in a national park.
A black bear.
That's right. This is a giant empty void in space.
Black hole.
That's right. This is a type of dessert that is iced in 2 different ways.
Is it a black cow?
It's not a black cow. It's a black and white cookie.
Oh, well.
Yeah. This is what happens after a long night of drinking.
blackout.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's what happens if you're Britney and you're a studio album.
This is what you would refer to as the plague.
Oh, the Black Death.
That's correct. And if I wanted to get you to do something and I held something over your head, I would be doing this.
Blackmail.
That's correct.
Mm.
And that's Guess That Idiom.
So we're standing at the trailhead of the Tomichi Point here at Black Canyon at the Gunnison. And what do we see?
Well, the canyon is breathtaking already. It's early morning light.
It is like you can perfectly see everything.
Yeah, it's about 9:15, and we're about to take a 2,000-foot drop.
Yeah.
Gradually.
I mean, you can
in a mile.
You can see from like right where we are that like things are sloping downwards and like there's some loose rock, but we'll see.
Yeah, how are you feeling?
I am intrigued. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but apparently there are going to be some other people on this trail with us today, so I feel better about that.
Yeah, me too.
So here goes.
So getting on the trail, you kind of descend pretty quickly into the tree brambly kind of like what looked to be like switchbacks right away.
We could title the first part of this, first leg of this, to be like tree bramble for like it's not a half mile, but it's like maybe like an eighth of a mile.
Maybe, yeah. We also had beaten the other group of ladies that were hiking with us to the trailhead, so we had started ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of conversations about what we were going to bring and what we weren't going to bring.
Yes.
I definitely left my camera back at the Airbnb this day because I didn't want that to be an issue. You kept your phone like very tightly zipped up, as did I. And this was not a trail where poles were recommended, because I don't think we used our poles at all.
No,
because of the scree.
I don't think we didn't have poles with us.
No, we didn't have the poles with us. We were all prepared to just kind of work with what we had, which was our hands and our feet.
Mm-hmm. After the tree brambly area, it was very woods here.
Yeah.
And then
very woods.
Very suddenly, it became, this is just rock now.
Yeah.
So the first sort of introduction to that, was this like giant flat rock. Mm-hmm. Now, it's not flat and level. It's on an incline.
Yeah.
And so...
On a decline.
Yeah. So what quickly became the name of the game for the day was, how do you get from here to there without falling on your face and without like kicking a bunch of rocks?
Well, which happens.
Which happened constantly.
There were, before we had gotten to any scree really whatsoever, there were a lot of loose rocks. And I had sort of taken the lead for us, and I was in the lead of the other group of climbers, or the other group of hikers as well. And the way that this first section worked, it was almost very serpentine. So even though we were ahead of them, just based off of like where you might have been ahead of them, if something got kicked accidentally or just was jostled loose, that thing bounced down. And there were more than a few times where it was like, crap, that really hurt. I definitely got hit by some loose rock as it tumbled down.
Right.
And I don't know if that was the same for you, but that's I guess what happens when you take the lead. It's like, here's your punishment.
Here's your punishment.
Yeah.
This flat rock, we quickly determined, we can't actually descend this flat rock without just sliding on our asses.
Right.
There was another sort of area of loose rocks over to the side of it. So you had to sort of maneuver your way over to that loose rock.
Right.
While being very, very, very careful of where you put your feet every single time.
Yeah. Which was just the name of the game for the rest of the day, too.
Where am I going to put my feet next? And what are the consequences?
It's like a foot fetishist question every day. Where will I put my feet
today?
And what will be the consequences?
Right.
Exactly. So we're about maybe 40 minutes into hiking now. And basically it's sit and scoot and yelling rock.
Yeah, it's all over loose rock, and it is. I'm already tired, but we're making it and we're doing it.
It's actually a lot of fun. It's just a little nerve-wracking. It is like literally.
Yeah, sure. It's so much fun.
I'm having fun.
It's new. It's different. Hiking behind you is very scary because I could hit a rock at any point in time that could tumble down your way and hit your head.
At this point in the hike, we're still very early in. You can see the wide open, like, canyon that you're going to basically be heading down. You can see all the scree that you're going to be hiking on, but you're still very much so in like a minor slot of that part of the canyon. So you're kind of sheltered where you're at, but that very quickly shifts. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, there goes the flat rock. Here you are. You're surfing down the scree for the rest of your time.
And now it's just scree rock.
And now it's just scree rock. So what was your first impression?
Well, let's talk about feelings for a second. At this point in time, my ankles were on fire.
Right.
Like literally like someone had put them in a fire. So I had to stop on scree rock, remove my boots, remove my socks, and take these Salon Paws pouches off. Then I just rolled them up, put them in my bag because leave no trace, obviously. And then after I was able to do that, I felt better. But I was generally speaking like really frustrated at this time. I loved being in the canyon and I loved like the adventure down. But the tedium was, it was a real lesson in like, you can't move quickly.
No.
And you know what it was? Okay, you know how like I remember saying this to you, like you take a step, one foot gains some,
traction.
Distance, and then the next foot gains some distance, and the next foot, you could only do like, you had to step.
Oh, it was all
and then
very calculated.
Step and then match your feet.
Yeah.
Step down and match your feet. And you had to do it sideways.
Yeah.
To like cover as much ground as possible.
Yeah.
And it was like, dig your foot a foot into the scree rock.
Right.
And then dig it out and take another step. But like taking one foot in front of another, that was out.
Yeah.
So that was tedium I didn't expect. So that was the thing throwing me for a loop and probably giving me the most frustration in that moment.
Yeah. I think for me, being on the scree and knowing how far down the bottom was, because you're dropping like 2,000 feet over a mile. Like you're dropping like a mile in a mile, if you really think about it like that.
The distance is a mile.
The distance is about a mile, and the path itself is about a mile. So it's almost like, it felt like you were straight up and down. Yeah. Like you're climbing a ladder of loose rock.
Right.
Fun.
So much fun. So much fun.
But it was really interesting. The other thing to note about the canyon too is that while most of it is scree, there are large bouldery areas that are there too.
Right.
So there were times where, and these would become important later, but there were times where it was like, oh, there's a sort of flat part. I can stand on that for a second and not worry about like rest having my feet come from under me.
But even the large rock was loose rock.
Right.
So that was also nerve-wracking. Now, when we were hiking down, right, you and I, we could not be like directly beneath one another.
No.
I had to hike like over to the left. You had to hike over to the right. And then we had to descend,
parallel basically.
Kind of, but you were ahead of all of us.
Right.
So you were ahead of everybody, but I had to make sure I was over to the side.
But you were still very much so ahead of the group behind us.
I was, that's true. And anytime I turned around, they were using their poles.
Right.
Very artfully. Like the way they got down the scree rock was elegance. And I felt like a cow in the middle of like a
Hummel ornament shop.
I was going to say like a bunch of water balloons. Like, I mean, that is what I felt like. Just but I was always like about one moment away from just like
breaking
tilting forward and just rolling all the way down.
Yeah. And collecting rocks with you.
And collecting rocks
a rock
with me.
Man.
And as we go.
Right. About midway down on the trail, there was this large tree. I think it was like a holly or something like that, or like some sort of conifer. At this point, I turned around and I realized how far I was ahead of you. And I think at this point also, the ladies had started to like kind of pass you. I think you like stepped off to the side. You're like, oh, they're so close. Let them go. So what I did is I stepped off to the side because this is a spot where it was kind of relatively flat. And I was like, oh, a break sounds great right about now. And I watched as all the ladies kind of passed me. And then I waited for you to kind of catch up.
Because you were a kind sister.
I was kind, but it was hard to like stay close to one another on this trail because of the nature of it, basically. So this was a great spot for us to take a break.
And I did finally, after everybody went on, I did finally meet up with you at the tree.
Yeah. So we're about, I would say, like an hour and 45 minutes into hiking, and we're very close to the bottom at this point.
Yeah. It feels like it's been 5 hours for me personally. You're basically just on large, shaky, loose rocks the entire way down, and it's like you can never get your footing.
Right. It just depends on, where you step. You really have to like be very situationally aware. We're on larger boulders now, but there is just a lot of loose, small rock at certain points. So I'm imagining the trip up is going to be something interesting.
The worst. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I do fear for injury with every single step. So I'm taking it very slow. Also, personally, right now, I was done with this trail about 45 minutes ago, like north of up from where we are. I'm trying to find it inside of me to like love this trail again and love what I see here. But this is where my body is right now.
And with that, let's take a break.
Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, please welcome to the stage.
May Exist. Who is May Exist?
Who is May Exist?
Well, I think we were seriously craving some springtime weather in this.
Oh,
so
I think we were.
Think May Exist was born from our lust for spring.
Yes.
And lust for life.
Oh, I live for spring.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Me too. I'm just going to roll with this from me. With me, I feel like she's of the realm of X-Files, like Gillian Anderson, like... the truth is out there. Like Agent Scully.
That sort of twist on May Exist.
Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I'm all about
like
the springtime vibes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think she's
so
an ancient aliens. Like.
Oh, wait. So does she like look like a detective and then have like a reveal and she's an alien?
Oh, yeah. She's got some really big shoulder padded blazers and like trench coats a la Gillian Anderson,
hiding her her spiky shoulders.
Her spiky shoulders.
And then all the scaly skin.
Oh,
back
and the
there
scaly
and
skin. Yeah. So I think she's like from Venus.
I see.
Yes,
I see.
Women are from Venus.
Yes.
Yeah. But I do feel like she is very Roswell-y, almost like B-52. She turns into like B-52's alien lady. Like,
got it.
Like Planet Claire. That's where she's from.
She's from Planet Claire.
Yeah.
Oh, May Exist.
And
from Planet Claire.
She definitely does like roam by the B-52s.
I think
that's got to be her song,
I was going
right?
to say it has to be. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's just like super, super weird with like weird like sounds in the background that are in the back of the Planet Claire song.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
So ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, please welcome to the stage.
May Exist. So after taking a good break, and I think we probably ate something at this point.
We did. We ate sandwiches.
Yeah, sandwiches, which has been like a blessing these last few trips. It's
Absolutely.
Just peanut butter sandwiches.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
I am very welcome. We continued on, and this is a point where we started to like hike a little closer to one another because we had been so far at a distance, and we also were able to have a conversation because I think you were like, I need you to keep my mind occupied. I am dying.
True.
Here.
I was dying inside. I was completely dying inside.
We need to play games. We need to do things. I need to be mentally preoccupied.
Yes.
Because this is not my favorite thing right now.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, so...
But it wasn't like but we were too far in for me to justify
to pull the trigger on that.
Let's turn around.
No.
And it was one of those things. It was like, well, with every step I take, I'm going to have to step up, on the way back.
That's always a thought,
and
isn't
that
it?
Just, that was killing me a little bit.
Yeah.
Frankly, for a lot of this trail, I did it alone.
Yeah.
Because you were so far ahead and like other people weren't around. So
right.
I didn't feel like, I was we couldn't be very social for a lot of it.
But we were able to now. Here's where that kind of connection happened on chasedboyfriend.com.
It was chasedprayer.boyfriend.
Thank you. But we continued on, and at this point, the slot of the canyon, the major slot that we're in, starts to narrow. The ladies that we were hiking with and that were behind us are now very far ahead of us. We can see them,
and they're still so visible, beautifully, artfully, elegantly, like
graceful,
managing to. And I'm like, I just want to be able to do that,
right?
You know,
yeah. There was a lot of snow melts too on these walls of the slot of the canyon that we were in. So there were these like little waterfalls that were forming that you could see and hear. I think they were pretty loud too.
Yeah.
And we're getting closer and closer to the bottom, and the scree is obviously not abating because this is basically what this trail is. It's just like surfing on scree. But eventually what happens as we get a little closer is that the landscape changes again, and it's not as scree-y.
Right.
We kind of get like more bigger stable boulders, and also
stable
trees.
Let's not jump to use the word stable quite yet.
Thank you, Moira.
Bigger boulder. Let us not jump to use the word stables, David.
Exactly.
They were certainly bigger.
Right.
We were able to stay together because of that.
Yeah.
I think, we were able to get much closer.
Right. But I'm talking like we're pretty close to the river at this point. We're like 20 minutes, if that, from the river.
Okay, so a few minutes ago, Mike was hiking ahead of me, and I was saying things like, I don't even want to do this anymore. I just want to turn around. But now we are here closer to the river. And I think I regret what I was saying because what are we seeing?
It's unbelievable. Like these just giant canyon walls surrounding us. The river is so crystalline, like kind of green. It's everything, like the texture, the color. It's just a wonder of nature.
And it makes it worth it. It really does. We do have to climb this beast back up again in a few. But the thing that is like getting me through this is that when we get down, we're going to eat some food, and we brought peanut butter sandwiches. So I'm very excited about that. And also later, we are treating ourselves to some hot springs, and that is also getting me through this.
And we're about 2 hours right now. I'd say we have about another half hour, maybe less, to get down to the bottom of the river. So about 2.5 hours down.
And how are you feeling right now?
I feel great. This is a little bit of a treacherous hike. I mean, I don't think, aside...
A little bit is a complete misunderestimation of what this is. This is a completely treacherous hike. This is like the most treacherous you get without like putting harnesses on.
Right. I feel like, I guess I never have really done a scramble before, unless you count scrambling the eggs that I did this morning for breakfast. So,
which were delicious.
Thank you. But this is definitely the true definition of a scramble.
Yeah. All of the like times at the indoor rock climbing gym when we did boulder problems are like starting to pay off for us right now. I'm literally taking one step at a time. It's like, well, where does my foot go next? I mean, it's like that kind of thing.
So I was like a puppy dog at this point because I just was living my best life. And I know that you were coming around to it, but you were also
coming around to it slowly. Yes.
You were also just like, I am done. And are we there yet? And I lost my puppy dog a little on kind of our last eighth of this leg of this, because this is what we call like bullshit brambles again.
It was
like worse
and the thing
than
about this bullshit
brambles. Yeah.
The thing about this one was you would think that maybe somehow, some way, like, oh, you're so close to the end. So maybe like there's like a clear path out to the... Nope. There's nothing clear. There is nothing clear about this path ever.
I think the problem was too is that there are so many ways that you could go down, and I think we picked the easier way to go down, which
then what looked like the easier way.
It became then harder to get to the river as opposed to if you had climbed down a little harder of a path. Because I remember coming back up, we came back up the harder path.
We did.
And it was like, why didn't we do this on the way down? Because then you wouldn't have had to deal with, it was like climbing through trees, climbing over tree limbs, going by dead trees, all over these leaves, through the bramble.
Sitting on limbs, crossing, getting your legs over.
Flames on the side of my head.
On the side of my heaving breath.
Yeah. It was all of that, basically. We also were not far behind one of the last hikers that was from the original group. So
yes,
she was straggling just a little bit behind everybody else. So we were kind of like a few legs behind her. And we were also kind of looking at her for beta on what to do.
Yeah.
But eventually you kind of get through all the bramble. We had to like kind of waylay our way near the river, if I remember correctly, but couldn't go out onto the rocks there. We had to kind of like
as we got there,
travel along the river to get to the opening because there's a bunch of rocks that you could sit on basically in the river. Yeah.
As soon as we got there, I invented a restroom.
You did.
And then we sat down to eat.
Yes, we did.
It was one of those moments where it was like, oh my God, sitting.
Yeah.
Just what a beautiful thing.
Also, sitting at the bottom of a canyon in a river. It was so it really is hard to describe because, as I said before, the water was like this crystal green, and all of a sudden you're just in this canyon, and seeing the walls and knowing that you've traveled a mile down in a mile's length also was just like a mind boggle. It was beautiful. It's so beautiful down there at the river.
So we've made it to the bottom.
Yeah, and we're sitting like on a flat rock right on the edge of the river.
I think you can hear the water behind us.
Yeah, most likely, most definitely.
It is very, very beautiful down here. Personally, right now, I'm feeling moderately accomplished that we were able to get back. We were able to hike all the way down here and get all the way to this river.
But not fully accomplished?
I am dreading having to turn around and climb up that canyon wall. That makes me that just gives me all the anxiety that I've ever had in my life is coming together in one place.
Yeah, I can see that. It's going to be a little tricky, but I think as long as we're slow and steady and we just stay together, we'll be fine.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
That doesn't sound ominous at all. Yeah, we'll just see how it goes.
So we're going to wait to put this on the Karen Stone scale until we are done with this trail after episode 38. But now it is time for some Jeopardy.
Great, Dusty. Will you hit us with your Jeopardy first?
I will.
Wonderful.
Are you ready?
I am. I was born that way.
If you stay ready, you ain't gonna get ready. This is called Colorado in the Movies.
Great.
So in this category, you just have to name the film that is set in Colorado.
Right. Not necessarily filmed there.
Not necessarily filmed there.
Great.
Set in Colorado.
I love it.
So every one of these starts with a quote. If you can't get the movie from the quote, then I will follow it up with the clue.
Okay, great.
Got it?
Got it.
For 100. What's the matter? I'll tell you what's the matter. I go out of my way for you. I do everything to try and make you happy. I feed you. I clean you. I dress you. And what thanks do I get? Oh, you bought the wrong paper, Annie. I can't write on this paper, Annie. Well, I'll get your stupid paper, but you better just start showing me a little appreciation around here, Mr. Man.
I need a clue.
Says Annie to Paul in this Oscar award-winning performance by Kathy Bates.
What is Misery?
Correct.
Okay, great. I've never seen Misery.
I know you've never seen it, which
so
is
let's give him that for the $100 clue. Jesus.
Some of these movies you've seen, some I know you haven't,
Great.
Some I'm not sure.
Perfect.
200. So the gamut. The gamut is run.
Yeah.
Right. 200. You're Jewish. They hate you. Doesn't that piss you off? Why are you acting like you don't got skin in the game?
I need a clue.
Says Ron Stallworth, played by John David Washington in this 2018 Spike Lee film based on true events, nominated for all of the awards, and centers around Stallworth, the first African-American officer and detective for the Colorado Springs Police Department who successfully infiltrated the local KKK branch.
What is the Black Klansman?
Correct.
Yeah. I have not seen that either.
300. We got no food, we got no jobs, and our pets' heads are falling off.
I need the clip. But it's a great
Says
quote.
Lloyd to Harry before leaving on a cross-country road trip to bring Mary Samsonite her luggage. Right. Okay. 400. Now, wait a minute. Lexi's a fine skater, but there's a big difference between the 7 counties Kiwanis competition. Now, this is the big time things. It's worse than being a professional. A little girl go up there. They eat her alive. I just don't want to get her hurt, honey, says Lexi's father in this iconic love story from 1978 about a young figure skater who suffers an accident that takes her sight. It also features the song Through the Eyes of Love by Melissa Manchester.
What is I, Tanya? I know that's not right. I don't know this movie.
Oh my God. What is Ice Castles?
Oh, okay.
You haven't seen Ice Castles?
No, I don't know Ice Castles.
Okay. Well, this is something we're going to have to do one day in an afternoon so you don't fall asleep.
Misery, Ice Castles, and Black Swan.
Listen.
Triple feature.
I watched Ice Castles probably 17 times a month because it was always on TNT. And my mom, if Ice Castles was on, it was like, no, Ice Castles is on. We have to finish watching it now.
Great.
She does this beautiful routine at the end of the movie that will make you just weep, and she does it while blind. I can't. Okay, ready. 500. And this is most definitely a $500 type of clue. I bet the toilets in this cabin are filled with fresh Colorado spring water, says Zeus, the yellow lab voiced by Mario Lopez in this 2010 made-for-TV live-action ABC film, also featuring Dean Cain and the voice acting of Paris Hilton, who plays a poodle, where a family goes on a winter trip to a Colorado lodge and end up being mixed up with a couple of thieves trying to steal a necklace. The title of this film could also be The Canine Who Rescued That Time Off at the End of December.
The Dog Who Saved Christmas? What is The Dog Who Saved Christmas?
Basically, yes. Yeah. The Dog Who Saved Christmas Vacation.
Oh, gotcha.
So, great job.
Well, that is a $500 clue if I ever did hear one.
The mom in that movie.
Also, Dean Cain. Where have you been?
Dean Cain, he still looks great. He still looks great.
Let's talk about Lois and Clark because I watched Lois and Clark like the biggest fan girl.
I watched way too much of Lois and Clark as a child.
Terry Hatcher. I almost said Terry Garr. Wrong Terry.
Wrong Terry, but she's a great Terry.
All right. My category is called Rock Scramble. Okay. In this category, I'm going to give you a word or a set of words. You need to create a new word from it based off of the clues.
Oh.
It'll be there. It'll be okay.
I got it.
You'll get it. Okay. All right. Rock Scramble for 100. If you were to scramble and pull out some of the letters of the words Black Canyon, you would end up with a word that describes a lofted overlook or a place where light from yonder window may shine.
Oh, what is balcony?
There you go.
Oh,
you got it?
Great. Oh, okay. I get it.
All right. Rock Scramble for 200. If you were to scramble and pull out some of the letters of the words Warner Point, you would end up with a word that describes a priest who puts holy water and oil on you when receiving a sacrament.
I don't know.
The Anointer.
Oh, the Anointer. Great.
The Anointer.
Great.
All right. Rock Scramble for 300. If you were to scramble up and pull out some of the letters of the word Montrose, Colorado, you would end up describing what we try to be in Black Canyon at night. Something that scientists do when they stare through telescopes.
What is... Okay, well, I immediately want to say Stargazer, but there's so many letters that are not in Montrose, Colorado.
No.
An astronomer.
Yes, it is an astronomer.
Okay, an astronomer.
Good for you.
Great.
All right, rock scramble for 400. If you were to scramble and pull out some of the letters of the words Tomichi Point, you would end up with a word that describes being the best or having the highest quality.
Is one of the words top?
It is.
Top model.
Not top model.
No, hold on. I gotta. Top dog.
No.
No, hold on. I'm gonna guess again. Top Mitch.
You're getting close. It does have a sh at the end of it.
Top notch.
There you go.
Oh, I
top
got
notch.
there.
You did get
I
there.
got there.
All right.
I don't know
one.
what a top Mitch is.
It's your boyfriend now.
My boyfriend now, right.
All right. Rock scramble for 500. If you were to scramble and pull out some of the letters of the words Orvis Spa, you would end up with a word that describes the feeling you might have if you got out of a hot spa pool too fast and got a head rush, or the misty and warm steam rising off the pool itself.
What is vapor?
That's correct.
Oh, like you have all the vapors.
I got the vapors.
I got the vapors.
I got the vapors. And that's rock scramble.
Look at you.
Look at you.
You done good, girl.
I bet you did too.
This has been Gaze at the National Parks, the podcast, and we're here to remind you to hike early and hike often, and that adventure is always out there.
Gaze at the National Parks was created and is hosted by Dustin Ballard and Michael Ryan.
For more images from this episode, follow our Instagram at Gaze at the National Parks. To contact us, email us at gazeatthenationalparks@gmail.com. And for more info and photos of Black Canyon of the Gunnison, and all of the other parks mentioned on this show, visit our website at gazeatthenationalparks.com.
All original artwork featured on our website and on Instagram is by Michael Ryan.
All original music is written by Dave Seaman and performed by Dave Seaman, Mariella Klinger, and Sean Sklios. Our music producer is Skylar Fortgang.
This episode was edited by Dustin Ballard. We would also like to acknowledge that while hiking in Black Canyon of the Gunnison, that we were on the traditional lands of the Ute Indian tribe.
Stay tuned to our next full-length episode where we ascend Tomichi Point in Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park.